Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the ebankIT Summit. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to many of you who have made the effort to fly from long distances to be here today. It's well appreciated that you're here today. So thank you for that. I'm Pedro Azevedo. I'm Chief Product Officer here at ebankIT. I have with me on stage today Paula Oliveira, our Head of Digital Experience, and our Product Analyst, Luís Allen, who have been kind enough to join me on stage and help with this product update that we have for you. So let's get started and look at the agenda that we've set up for today. The idea here is to really keep things varied and begin by looking back at the ebankIT Summit 2023. And remembering a few of the things that we said then and how that turned out. So we'll begin by that, and then we'll have a kind of a brief interlude, get out of the roadmap discussion for a moment, and talk about things that are crucial to our vision of what it means to truly excel in digital banking. But these are things that exist a little bit beyond development. So they're not exactly technical things and not exactly development. So we'll talk about that for a little bit and then come back to the roadmap. And in particular, I have to say, the product roadmap section that is brought to you by humans, in the sense that we're keeping the AI stuff for later. So keep your eyes peeled for the AI presentation later on. But this bit of the roadmap presentation is going to be a little more human than that. The rest of the time, we'll touch on AI topics here and there, but mostly we'll focus on that later. So before we begin, I would just like to invite you to spend a couple of minutes considering why we have roadmaps in the first place. The purpose behind every roadmap is what I would like to talk to you about. And for that, I will ask that you read this Demis Hassabis's quote. He's a Google DeepMind CEO, and he thinks that one day, in the not too distant future, we can cure all disease with the help of AI. Okay. If we're talking about roadmap purposes, this sounds to me on the surface like a purpose we can all agree with, right? I mean, who wouldn't like this to be true? Assuming we're still all here to see this happen, this would be really great news. And it's worth pointing out that Demis Hassabis is a Nobel Prize winner. He recently won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. He's also not exactly, his name is not exactly what's on there. If you care about titles, his full name is Sir Demis Hassabis. He's been knighted in the UK for his work in the area. So, you know, someone who's been knighted, who's won a Nobel Prize in chemistry, this is not your average tech bro who's claiming this type of thing and then disappearing the next day. This is someone, I think, of real standing. And yet, I wonder how many of you in the audience today were actually aware of him saying this a couple of months back. Were you at all aware? Yeah, some of you. But outside of our industry, how many people have heard this? It's such a huge statement. I mean, curing all disease. So this completely, I think, failed to make mainstream media news. I don't think anyone heard anything about this outside of us. So I can get that to an extent that people would go, you know, okay, curing all disease, AI curing all disease, that's cool, but yeah, you know. Have you seen the latest AI video generator though? Oh, that's the real deal. So I can see people doing that, but if you look at stock market performance for Google for those days around this quote coming out, there wasn't really much of a reaction in the stock market. And that I have a little bit more difficulty explaining. So I wanted to dig into that and figure out what may have caused this. So let's try to break down this purpose for their roadmap and see how we can explain, to some extent, this relative indifference to such a huge thing to say. So first of all, if you look at the complete quote, I think there's a lot of tentative wording here. I think one day maybe we can cure all disease with the help of AI, maybe within the next decade. I don't see why not. Well, I don't see why not either, right? But I don't know the problem really. Looking at this, however, It doesn't really transmit to me a lot of confidence that we know exactly where this is going and how to get there. So that brings with it a sense of some kind of maybe overreaching or overextending oneself. Is this kind of over-promising? I mean, can we really plan for the next decade? Are we able to do that? Also, can we really cure all disease? Shouldn't we start with something a little smaller maybe? I don't know, but all disease? So I actually went and asked multiple AI chatbots what they thought were the chances of this coming true. I mean, if it's AI that's going to do that, it should be able to tell me a number, which wasn't easy. I'll tell you this, AI can be pretty stubborn when you want it to come up with something concrete sometimes. Eventually, I got a number, which was maybe there's a chance, under 2% chance of this coming true. So, even AI doesn't seem to trust us very much. So again, I'll go back to my previous point. This is not just someone saying this. This person, to me, knows what they're talking about clearly, and this is something I would expect to take seriously. But there's also one other thing. I mean, something this huge, you would expect this to be their one purpose, right? Their main goal. I mean, what else can they be looking at if they're trying to cure all disease? And yet you get a sense that, Google maybe is still going to be more concerned about selling ads, and then, yeah, maybe we'll cure all disease while we're at it, but not necessarily the main purpose, which is kind of strange. So going back to roadmap purposes, I think they need to be well defined. Either this is their actual purpose or it isn't. I think it needs to be clear, but also ambitious. No doubt about this being ambitious, but also it needs to somehow feel realistic for people to actually buy into it, and for your engineers to know what they're doing, for your clients to know what to expect, etc. But I would like to focus on ebankIT a little bit. So I was investigating this and going into this, and I thought, how would this translate into ebankIT? So I tried to create a way of representing that. So we can help FIs eradicate bad digital banking experiences. We're ready to start now, and we'll keep getting better. So given we're not eradicating all disease, I think, maybe, hopefully, someone will, but it won't be us. We know how to we understand the problems behind delivering great digital banking experiences worldwide. That we do understand. We don't understand other problems necessarily, but that one we think we understand. We think also that we have some of the solutions for that. And so therefore, this is something that we can focus on, something that we can be realistic about. We have to be realistic, but we still can be ambitious within our area of expertise. And so let's, again, break this down like we did before. Here's what we're trying to say. First, I would like to point out that bad, the quotation marks there, is because bad isn't just when things break. Fair enough. Okay, you get an error. Nobody likes errors. We have mechanisms in the platform to kind of lower the level of friction you get when something actually breaks. But there's a whole range of things that are just unremarkable and perhaps could be exceptional. So let's try and make those experiences exceptional. There's also a real focus here on the ability to always configure, extend, and customize the platform, because that's also what will help you have a targeted, tailored solution that can really excel and differentiate and achieve that level of exceptional interactions. And finally, we also commit to avoiding stagnation. We'll try to get better all the time. No version is our last version. We're always looking forward and trying to improve. So if this is the purpose of what we deliver, then how have we been doing in terms of actually delivering things? Because, what's the point of a roadmap if you're not going to deliver what's on it? So maybe we're just remembering what we actually delivered, and our memory isn't good enough to remember the stuff that we promised but didn't deliver. So I thought, why not? Let's go back to ebankIT Summit 23, see what we were up to at the time and see how we did in terms of actually delivering those things. So let's have a look at that, and then we'll show you how that turned out as well. So what did we deliver? We spoke about ultra-personalized campaigns. That was the slide. We delivered that. We implemented the security settings overview panel. We gained the ability to extend our mobile apps with ebankIT Studio X, becoming much closer even to true omni-channel platform extensibility. We also have been able to add a number of AI assistants to ebankIT Studio. So there is AI again in its multiple aspects, and this was also an important point for us, and we'll see more about this in a moment. But also a number of customer-facing features, such as the customizable dashboard that we were able to deliver, and I'll show you more about this in a moment. Now, I'm not doing this to say, to just kind of brag and say we deliver everything we promise. No, there has to be room within the span of 2 years for adjustments, right? Priorities change, so there were some things that we did not deliver. We delivered other things that weren't part of the plan, and there needs to be some wiggle room as well. But let's start by looking at this customizable dashboard. So we have a whole host of personalization options within the ebankIT platform. To us, it's really important that you can personalize to your heart's content as a user in our quest for humanizing digital banking. So I won't even list them all, but one thing that's quite critical to that, we feel, is the dashboard. You have just logged in. This is your landing page. What you see there really matters. And it can't just be a one-size-fits-all type scenario. You have to be able to make it fit what you are interested in. So we've been busy developing more widgets that you can use for your dashboard. We've been able to make a segmentation logic that enables you to have widgets that are specialized for certain purposes, like for commercial banking. We've also enabled each user to personalize their dashboard and project teams to build their own widgets. So this is all part of the small video that we're going to show you next, where you can see this in action. So you log in, and you have a personalized campaign waiting for you up top. And then you start seeing a number of default widgets that we show. You have your product list, you have your favorite operations, you have your last operations. This is all useful information that you can present by default. But if you go back up, you can click Customize and just make it your own. Let's activate a few widgets that weren't there before. Let's hide a few that we maybe don't like so much, and let's reorder them as well so that we see the most important ones first. Let's save and apply these changes to our dashboard. They're immediately visible there. And here we have it. Now I can see how my account balance has evolved lately for my favorite account. I can see a snapshot of my credit cards. I can see my scheduled operations just below the favorites coming up now. So things that are interesting to me, even if they're not the default setting. And what's more interesting, we can have a completely different configuration for our mobile banking app. But let's go and use one of our convenient functionalities here, switch profile. Let's switch to our small business profile, where we now have a personalized commercial campaign, where we have a different theme, and where we already have segmented widgets. In this case, the specialized product group wizard with product group widget, which enables you to view much larger contracts with many accounts. You can see other specialized widgets like the pending operations widget, which is useful for small business because it shows you at a glance what operations are pending your approval. But we can do much more than this. Let's go and see new widgets that we've been developing. Things like the multi-product carousel on top, where you can see more information about each account. You can switch to credit card views. You can go and see all kinds of products there in one single widget, so that you don't even need to leave your dashboard to see all that information. You have another way to visualize favorite operations, a more colorful savings goal that we can fill in, also a more colorful widget for showing your credit card. And we can do more because at project level, beyond just using these, you can integrate with others or develop your own. You can see here a stock ticker, a stock market top stories, and a stock market heat map that we've simply integrated from existing technology that we're able to just show here. So yeah, the possibilities really are endless. And at project level, you can really enable a lot of personalization for your users to make this dashboard really their home when they log in. That's not all we've been doing. Of course, AI comes into play a lot. So in order to deliver all this, it's critical to pay attention to the developer experience that project teams will have. And of course, our platform, as you will know, is very much centered around the concept of low-code extensibility. Right? You buy the ebankIT platform, you get all this brilliant out-of-the-box functionality, sure, but you're expected to extend it at project level and make it your own. And for that, we have ebankIT Studio to facilitate all those tasks. And AI, and particularly AI code generation, has increased significantly lately, and that, when you have a tool that specifically generates code for your platform, that has to be considered. So far, what's happened at ebankIT is we're not introducing any of the uncertainty and even hallucinations and whatnot that might come with AI code generation. We're keeping control of code generation, but why not leverage AI for tasks where it can make things more efficient? So that's what we try to do. Rather than focus on the code itself, Vitor from the professional services team the other day shared with me an insight he'd read that I think quite applies to this, which is people tend to think of code as an asset. So if you can have AI generating more of these assets for you, that's great. But maybe you should also think of code as a liability, because code can have security issues, code can have performance issues, code can have reliability issues, code needs to be maintained. So maybe the real asset is the knowledge behind that code. So we're keeping control of code, we're automating things for you, we're making it more efficient using AI assistance rather than handing over the reins to AI altogether. And to show you more about these AI assistants that we've been developing, I will now invite my colleague Luís to show you a brief video. Thank you, Luís.
Thank you, Pedro. Hello, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your time here at the summit. So, after the huge milestone that was bringing the mobile apps into StudioX, as Pedro was mentioning, we are picking up with AI, and we are doing it fast. Fast, but steady. So, StudioX has a lot of news and novelties, such as the chatbot for developers or the wireframe to transaction wizard, which is the one we are most excited about to tell you today. So what this feature does is enable you to save valuable time when creating your own transactions, because it will help you to bring your ideas into reality. So basically, what you can do with this is create transactions out of an image that you can have drawn during your work lunch. For example, an image like this one. So what we'll do next is create the transaction, and then along the way, we will be able to upload that image into StudioX. And when we upload the image, AI will read the image and will take all the labels from the components and create them immediately and automatically. The only thing you need to do, as you can see here, is check if everything is okay and keep the process flowing. So now what we're doing is finishing the transaction, and then we'll proceed to set up the front end. And when we do so, you can check that when we are setting up the front end, we will have the controls from the AI labels. So basically, we are asking AI to pick up the controls from the labels that it read in the last image. And everything is here again, saving time, and you just have to check if everything is okay and finish the process. You generate front end, and now the only thing missing is to compile the code, and afterwards you can just go ahead and immediately check in your browser, in your internet banking, if everything is as you intended. So let's log in to check if everything is OK. In the meantime, let me rephrase that. Creating the transaction will take a little longer than what it took to make this presentation. So as you can see, the transaction is already set and done, as we just defined. But as Pedro was saying, we don't want to hand over the code to AI just so freely. So worry not, because if, for example, in this image here, AI did not pick up all the labels as it was supposed to pick up, it will not create them. It will only create the ones that is sure that are as you intended. And you can always go ahead and edit each one of those if you want. For example, in this case, we're going to edit this one. Or you can just add the labels that either AI didn't pick up or that you want to add manually. And that's it. Now, to tell you a little bit more about our original features, I'll pass you to Paula.
Thank you, Luís. Hello, everyone. Now let's move on to the Canadian layer. The Canadian layer is an important part of our marketplace, and today I want to talk to you about bill payments. Bill payments is a well-known feature as well, but it was completely redesigned. This is also an example of listening to your feedback. So we gathered all the improvements suggested by credit unions from Canada. Dan brought that feedback to us. Thank you, Dan. And we also focused on the context of use. The result is an optimized payment experience according to the device. Both UIs still support multiple payments, but the internet banking was primarily designed for that, while the mobile banking was sought for when we are in a hurry and really need to pay that bill. But let me show you how this works. So we are now in our internet banking, doing the login with our user and password. We land in the dashboard. You already know all these widgets by now, so let's move on to the pay bills. And here I have my form with all my payees already set. I can start doing the payment straight away, or I can select a pre-saved operation that will fill all the fields for me. But first I want to show you the payee management. Here is where I can organize all my payees. I can add new ones, just need to fill some fields, categories, select the payee, fill in the account number, and if I want, I can add a nickname. But let's cancel this for now. I have enough bills to pay. Here, we can also, as I said, change the nickname for each payee or add a new one if we haven't done that yet. We can also reorder the payees, so I can have the ones that I use most on top of my list. Another thing that I can do is to turn on and off their visibility, so the ones that I don't use that often, they can be hidden. For each payee, we have the details, the option to remove them forever, and a shortcut to go back to the pay bills form. And this payee is highlighted because I selected it in the other page, but I still can fill the other ones. And now I only have 4 because I turned off the visibility for the other 2. So let's start filling the first payment. The second payment has a later due date, so we can use this edit option to fill more information about the payment and to schedule this payment. So let's schedule this for the 24th, save it, and we can proceed with the transaction. We are okay with these 2 payments. Here in the confirmation screen, I can see that I'm doing 2 payments. I can see the total amount, but I still can check the details of each payment. Now continue, and it's done. Each payment will now be handled by the core banking. And now let me show you the same flow, but for the internet banking. And here, as I said, the flow is designed for a single payment, while also allowing users to do multiple payments if they want. So, same way to reach the functionality. And I already have my source account pre-selected. I just need to fill a payee and enter an amount. Description and schedule will be optionals. And here I have the button to add another payment, but the continue is the primary button. So let's go with that flow, confirm the payment, and continue. And it's done. So two different contexts of usage and different approach that we reach here. Besides the bill payments, the Canadian market, the Canadian layer has another set of features that are prepared to address the requirements of the Canadian market. We have ebankIT transfers, options related to checks. Here I want to highlight the remote check deposit that is now available for web. So this means that users can deposit a check, for example, using a tablet. More focused on the commercial segment, we have CRA payments, ebankIT transfers for business, and automatic funds transfers. Users can also copy, share, or see the details of a void check and see all their digital documents. And with, too much. With all these features, we reach the second part of our presentations. To make us able to deliver those features, there's a lot of support that is done to, a lot of work that is done to support, communicate, and improve the ebankIT product. Our product, as Pedro said, is not just about code. It's about having an entire orchestra in sync since we start gathering the requirements until we ship our releases. For example, along with our releases, we always launch a set of documentation that explains how the product works. And today, we are very proud to announce you that we are working on a new website for our documentation. Our documentation has different target audiences, but what do they all have in common? They want information that is fast to reach, always available, and as content that is relevant for each of them. So we are leaving the PDFs and we are entering a new era in the ebankIT documentation. Here is a preview of our new website. The information will be organized by area, so users can jump from NXP, Studio, and Marketplace. All the information will be organized by release, and using this drop-down is really easy to find the release that you want. We also split those big documents into smaller pages and smaller pieces of content that are easier for the users to read. And all these links, shortcuts, allow you to follow the information that you want. Also, for the more technical roles, these code snippets will make all the information more readable. We have a search option that also allows users to find the content that they need. And right now, we are migrating all the contents and filling all the website, and soon you all will be able to test it and to send your feedback to us. This website will be launched by the end of the year and will have all the documentation of the next NXP release. So, I show you the end of the process, the documentation, but now I want to talk about the beginning, the UI definition. In 2024, we officially launched the Particles design system. This is an important milestone for the NXP UI, and is also the result of our commitment to deliver great user experiences for all banking applications. The Particles Design System was created to define the main UX and UI guidelines for the self-service applications, the internet banking and the mobile apps. And it is in fact 3 design systems tailored for each platform: web, iOS, and Android. The main goal of the Particles Design System is to accelerate development while allowing projects to configure their unique UI. So, all starts with the definition of the foundations. The foundations are the main rules of a design system and set the guidelines for colors, typography, spacings. For each of the foundations, we defined a set of variables. And projects can configure these variables or tokens to achieve the image that they want for their project. With all the variables defined, we create a library of components that can be used to build our screen and our pages. For each component, we have all the documentation regarding its anatomy, colors, spacing, typography, and also when and how to use each component. And here is when we first start addressing our concerns with accessibility. The Particles Design System tries to follow all the main guidelines of the accessibility. Also here in the components, project designers and project developers can use the Figma's dev modes and explore more about each component and see how it behaves and how they can use it. Next, we joined foundations and components and we created our screens. What you are seeing now is our out-of-the-box experience. And the Particles Design System is the starting point for all new projects. All begins here. And by changing foundations and components, projects can go from this vanilla version to this. Completely same contents, but completely different look and feel. The first thing you notice is this hero background image that can change per segment. Also a bigger welcome message and a bigger balance in the top. Scrolling down, the same widgets, the same contents, but different typography, different colors, different spacing, all to create a distinct UI for this demo. And as the particles continues to evolve, projects have new UI possibilities. In the next release, we will expand those possibilities to wider screens and support more breakpoints on internet banking. And as we take advantage of more space, we can rearrange contents and launch widgets combining more information. This saves vertical space, can reduce scrolling, and opens the door for different user experiences. So, what do you think? Pretty fast to go from the vanilla version to our demo, completely tailored and with a different UI, right? And as you saw in the last video, the Particles Design System was created with accessibility in mind. But there are lots of ways to look at accessibility. One way might say that it's good for your corporate image to say that you care about this. Another view might say that there are laws and regulations that you need to comply with in certain regions. But here at ebankIT, we see it as an opportunity to include as many people as we can in our quest for the eradication of bad digital experiences in digital banking. We aim to remove all barriers to digital banking, from design to development and all the way to testing. And because of that, we are also working now with external consultants that verify our conformance with industry standards and help us to achieve a better accessibility for our product. And now, with accessibility in mind, Pedro will show you more about our products and our future roadmap. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Luís. Okay, so with that interlude done, this is the final part of our presentation now, where we look to the future. And now that we've established the purpose of our roadmap, I feel like we know where we are going. So let's have a look at the roads that might get us there now that we know where we want to go. We'll start with the kind of the short term, so things we are already working on, things we'll be delivering soon, and then we'll move on to longer term initiatives so that you're all up to speed on what we're thinking about. But first, I'd like to talk to you a little bit, just for a minute, on how we balance things out when defining this roadmap. The product roadmap equilibrium, what I call it, has to do with expectations that come with a roadmap and risks that come with those expectations. So to give you an example, of course, we're expected to innovate all the time, right? Move fast and break things, except when they actually break, and nobody likes that. So we need reliability. There's also a tendency to expect to quickly react to every trend, which is understandable. In an industry like ours, it's very fertile ground for new trends. But, you know, despite all the industry FOMO that goes on, you also want to have a pretty good line of sight into what comes next in our roadmap. You can't expect us to be shifting all the time from one technology or one trend to another. And also, we're expected to be disruptive. You know, you want to differentiate, you want to be unique like everybody else does, and that requires you to disrupt a bit, but you don't want to be left behind without a migration path or an upgrade path due to that disruption. So we need to have continuity in mind as well. And finally, everybody is looking for their own interests in terms of the features that they would like to see, and we totally see that. But aiming to be everything to everyone has a cost in terms of efficiency, right? You become cluttered, you become feature bloated, and it dampens your efficiency significantly. So how do we address these concerns? What's the framework that we try to keep around for balancing our roadmap and addressing these things? So certainly smaller but useful innovation is a good place to start. With so much technology going on, and never more than now, with all the technology that's going around, there's so many solutions out there looking for problems to solve. We try to approach this differently. We try to look for problems that require a solution and try to find that solution for them. So useful incremental innovation. In terms of trends, I mean, there needs to be consistency in our choices. You have to have maturity checks. You make sure you don't just jump on any bandwagon and constantly change direction. In terms of disruption, part of our development cycle, part of our planning has to do with, okay, how do existing customers go from A to B if we do this? So let's try and build in some upgrade helpers, some migration helpers, the ebankIT Studio, other tools that can help mitigate the cost associated with keeping up with the latest versions that we want everyone to do. And finally, you have to have the ability to say no a lot. That's important, because it's good for you to say no sometimes, right? If you focus on what you're doing, if you keep focused, you have efficiency gains. Everybody's a winner after that. And if you add configurability and extensibility to that, then everyone can also build their own extensions to the platform where necessary. So this is how we try to approach it. I won't make this any longer than I have to, but these are really important points to us as a product management team in particular, so something I would like to share. But let's see how this translates into actual roadmap initiatives and things we are doing next. And let's start with the features that we've been reimagining lately. So Since the last summit, you heard about NXP, you heard about all the new technology and all the new user experience we have, and we've been busy migrating things from our existing platform to the new one. And these are a few of the features that are coming next. KYC prompt. So this is meant to conveniently prompt users to refresh their personal data. So hopefully a painless way of, as you log in, be reminded that you have to update your data. Your core banking can decide when to ask each user for this. You can customize the form that is used to request this data, and you can then store it back on your core banking system to make sure you keep up with regulations. We've also have a new financial overview widget. You have actually seen this before during our presentations, but an overview giving you a quick glance of your assets and your liabilities. So this is something that hopefully you'll be at least as much in the green as this example, but this is something that's quite useful for your dashboard as an option for many users who have multiple products, and this helps them keep that view up to date. Bulk transactions, so bulk operation upload, really important for commercial and even small business. So you'll hear more about this tomorrow. We have a presentation on commercial tomorrow, but nevertheless, this is really useful for payroll, for paying your suppliers, so things that you do once a month, like upload a big file with all the operations rather than having to insert them manually one by one and get them approved one by one. So we provide all of that functionality, even if your core banking system doesn't support that. And finally, the User Engagement Hub, a well-known feature that we've redesigned, revamped as well, giving you the ability to gather contextualized feedback about what's going on with your users, not just contextualized, but private. So this doesn't go straight on a public app store where people typically go to complain. Let's be honest about that. So you'll gather that information internally, privately, and contextualized. You'll know who the person was. It won't be just some anonymous review. You'll know what mobile device they're using. You'll know what they were doing. So you can correlate all these things and find actual insights into what's happening in the platform. But we've also been busy reimagining entire channels and opportunities to engage with customers. So let's have a look at some examples of those with my colleague, Luís, taking over again. Thanks, Luís.
Thank you again, Pedro. So we've been redesigning and reimagining the system widgets and watch app in such a way that will bring new ways for you to interact with your users and for them to access your banks. But to showcase you a little bit about this, I would like you to imagine that you are in line to pay for your groceries, okay? But you're not quite sure if you have enough balance in your prepaid card, so you don't want to just pick up and open your bank app with so many people close by. And cashier is already looking at you, so you can just pick up your phone and look at your widget. You can either choose a big widget with lots of numbers and fantastic graphics, or you can just pick a smaller one with all the information you need, which in this case is your balance. In the same way, you can always choose your favorite transactions to have in your favorites, so that when yet again your kid calls you asking for more money, you just have to pick your transaction, your favorite transaction, and it will be all pre-filled. You just have to press send. In the same way, with the watch, we want to bring you something that will help you with your day-to-day tasks, so that you can look at your main account information and details, your balance. So in the case of the cashier, will be more discreet. You can look at your latest operations and the state of each one of those, and also your notifications. And the good part and the best part for me to have your bank in your wrist is that if you're running with your mates and you need to catch a breath, you can always say, wait, I have a notification from my bank. And now to give you the close and final words for this session, I'll give it to Pedro.
Thank you again. Okay, we're in the home stretch now, as Luís was saying. So we're going to be looking at longer-term initiatives now, things we're investigating. Some of them we're starting to develop, mostly for next year. To get us started, I've picked one that I'm sure will get a reaction from at least one person in this audience. I mean a loud reaction for sure. But hopefully more of you will be as enthusiastic about this as this person. Well, the screen just went blue on me. This is totally not the color that the slide was supposed to be. Something's going on with the screen. But anyway, hopefully you can still read. Okay, that's better. This is passwordless authentication that I'm talking about. Passwordless authentication, you may have heard of FIDO2, you may have heard of WebAuth. Essentially, most likely, you've heard of passkey, right? Passkeys are starting to pop up everywhere. You have small companies like Apple and Google and Microsoft and Samsung making it their default and really putting their weight behind this initiative. So we think it's going places, and we think even in a digital banking world, which has its own approach to security sometimes, and authentication is a very touchy subject, we're hoping to incorporate this into our platform and give you guys the opportunity to use all the power of passkey that's going to become available and I think become the norm over the coming years in our industry as well. Second thing is open telemetry. Open telemetry meaning the replacement of our existing monitoring solution with something that's standardized, that you can easily plug into it, exploration tools, even open source ones, to give you much greater insight into what's going on inside the platform. And finally, cloud optimization. So cloud optimization has to do with the fact that we've reached a point where we now have the ability to take things to another level in terms of cloud efficiency, scalability, and resilience. But just to save the key thing for last, we are also reimagining and re-implementing our staff channels. So BFO and contact center, branch front office and contact center, will be getting a modernized UI that's going to be standardized according to the self-service channels. It's going to bring a number of omni-channel enhancements to these channels to make them more consistent across the platform, provide deeper customer insights, integrating with initiatives that you probably already have ongoing in your financial institution around AI and around data analytics. So let's show you in closing how that might look. It's the first prototype that we've come up with, so we'd like to share that with you. So the slide changed before it was ready. So you have up top a smart search box that you can enter someone's name or phone number or taxpayer number, and it'll figure it out for you. On the right-hand side, you have access to recent customers, center for quick actions, and recent processes, giving you all the contextual information you need. But let's search for a customer. You'll have quick actions in the center. It is running now. You'll have recent processes that you've accessed lately. You have recent customers over there. Let's look at the case of Claire Olive. She's on a gold plan. You can straight off see her attributes, and you can also see her current interactions with the bank. As you scroll down, you'll see things like her recent processes that she was involved in, such as an account opening or a card request, her financial data, her recent contacts with the bank, but also things like personalized campaigns or next best action, next best offer that may have been integrated with your own systems to suggest that maybe subscribing a term deposit is just what's needed next. And so let's do that here inside BFO. Let's click on that, and we can see now this standardized UI for entering into transaction and transacting on behalf of your customer inside BFO. But you already know how this goes, so we'll not create the term deposit now. Let's instead go back to the dashboard and turn this two-dimensional view of the customer into a three-dimensional view of the customer. Okay, so let's start by swiping on that area up there and take us to a security status. So this is a security rating based on things like how many recent failed attempts to log in have there been? What's their mobile operating system level? Have any password changes happened lately? So things that tell you about security. Swipe again, and you get something like a connection network. How do you build this? Maybe I have an individual profile, but also a small business profile that I share with a couple of people who then have other profiles in commercial entities with a lot of other people. So this gives you quick access to those people right from here. And if you swipe one last time, why not measure our temperature in terms of sentiment analysis, in terms of the engagement that this person has with the bank, looking at things like the content of their secure messages, the feedback that we've got through User Engagement Hub, how many errors have they been getting, how optimized is their device. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and integrating with other data sources can take us even further in providing this view of this individual as a digital banking customer and taking that to another level. So I hope this has made you curious to see where this will be going. Nevertheless, we do have more to come beyond the roadmap that I just presented. We'll have a session on security. Also tomorrow, a session dedicated just to commercial users, and still to come today, our artificial intelligence session. So a lot still to see. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my co-presenters, and hope you enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you.